Hey Tyrel, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. Can't complain, man. Um, so uh, we're gonna talk about your story so far in your professional career, and I'd like to go back all the way to the beginning. Can you talk a little bit about your experience as a student at SUNY Cortland?
Yeah, I think it laid it paved the way for a lot of my future successes. I grew up in New York and wanted to find a school that focused on sport management and not break the bank in the process, and landed on SUNY Cortland. Didn't know a ton about it, but I loved the fact that a lot of the professors had industry experience and I could learn from them, and there'd ultimately be some real-time application to what we were learning in the classroom and how that applies to the real world. And Cortland provided just that. I really got a chance to meet and build some unique relationships, not only with students and people that are lifelong friends now, but also with professors that help guide me and set me up for success and putting us in real-time scenarios to prepare us for what the real world would ultimately bring. And I think Cortland as a whole truly prepared me for a lot of the successes that I'm now able to enjoy.
Awesome. It's neat to hear that we shared sort of the same thought process when we chose SUNY Cortland as the place we were gonna further our education. Um, so you turned an internship with the New York Mets into a location you'd stay for almost a decade, and you took up a variety of roles at your time there. Can you talk to us a little bit about your time with the Mets and what you did there?
Yeah, and I think it sort of dovetails nicely from the conversation that we just had about Cortland. You know, really focusing on internships and utilizing your opportunities once you get there. And with the Mets, the summer of 2004, I welcomed any challenge they threw my way. I became a professional photocopier, stapler, shredder, you name it. Whatever task they threw my way, I welcomed it with open arms in hopes that they would see my work ethic. They'd see my drive and desire to make it in this industry. And, I think that summer, I wanted to use that not only as a chance to broaden my skill set, obviously increase my network, but to start to poke around and start to ask questions because I truly didn't know what I wanted to do. So I would speak to different department heads and leverage some of those like intern programs where you get a chance to speak to other executives or even people that were entry level. Like, why did you get into the community department? Or is there a reason why you want to work in ticketing? And I think I was able to meet some new people that gave me new perspective into life and ultimately where I wanted to be in sports business, because we know in SUNY Cortland, it's broad, right? You can major in sport management. What does that mean as far as your day-to-day is concerned? And with that, those relationships I built, I was actually going back to SUNY Cortland for another semester. I'd already graduated, but I was just going to hang out on campus and then walk in in the spring semester of 2005. And that's when one of the relationships I had built with the Mets called me up. It was like, hey, there's an opportunity in a ticketing department. Are you interested? And that was solely based on me making that connection when I was there, and a genuine connection. And the fact that that person was willing to keep me top of mind for an opportunity just speaks volumes to how close-knit the sports industry is. And if you do right by people, opportunities will be afforded. And I was able to get in the door and turn that into a full-time opportunity. And I sort of used the same things approach to build those solid working relationships and be an effective communicator that would later lead to future promotions and opportunities to go elsewhere with new organizations because of sort of that same dynamic and transitional phase from being an intern and staying ready. Because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Staying ready for future opportunities.
Awesome. I like to hear that because I've been doing a few of these interviews and I've been talking to alumni. We've had so much time in the past few months. And one of the things that rings true with pretty much everyone who's found success in the sport industry is they're making the most of every opportunity they get. So like you said, like just trying to reach out to people in multiple departments in the Mets organizations
Right.
and how far that took you. So it's nice to hear that that rings true with pretty much everyone I've spoken with. Um, and speaking of opportunities, not everyone in the sport industry has had the opportunities where you've worked in baseball, you've worked in basketball, you've worked in football. Um, Can you speak to the differences in each sport, if any stand out, and what's similar just in the sport industry in general?
Yeah, and I'll add one more for you. When I was in Brooklyn working at Barclays Center, the Islanders played in Brooklyn for a couple seasons. So I think it's running the full gamut of the four major sports here in the U.S. have been very eye-opening because it isn't cookie cutter. While we may be rooted in the same principles, every league operates with a different set of, guidelines and standards. I will say it's also about the stage of my career. So when I came in at the Mets, I was still learning. So some of the nuances in baseball, while I was there for 8 years, I learned a lot, but I also wasn't like the person making the decisions at my department level. I could influence some things, but at the end of the day, I had to defer to some others. It's in basketball where I attribute a lot of my success because it was the first time that I truly was out on my own, flapping my own wings, and I was accountable for all the decisions that were made. And I built a good relationship with the league, the NBA, the league office, because a lot of things as a team, you need permission from the league in order to do certain things. I think the NBA is what you see as far as like the cultural elements. Like it's just as important about the look and feel of a player's attire when he walks into the runway to what happens on the court. And I think the NBA has done a really good job of creating a sense of pride and awareness and buzz 365 days a year. Summer League gets a lot of attention, draft, free agency, all-star game. Like every milestone moment comes with a lot of hype and buzz. The NFL, because again, I'm further along in my career, I've learned just the power of the brand and what the shield and the IP represents. And it's really, really powerful. Like you can print money as far as just the consumer base and how engaged and passionate. And it's just, let's think about the games. In baseball, 81 home games, NBA, 41 home games, NFL, you have 8. So your margin for error is significantly less. So when I travel with the team or with the NFL, or if we're hosting a home game, it's not a Tuesday night against the Padres or a Monday night against, the T-Wolves. It's like every game really matters. And there's no chance if you didn't get it right on Tuesday, you can get it right on Thursday in some of these other leagues. Like the NFL, you get one moment under the sun to get it right. And that was the most eye-opening experience for me, and have taken a lot of key learnings. And now that I've had that experience with all four, and hockey, you just think about like a jersey, the value of what it means to put on a jersey, and you walk into the stadium or arena and everybody has that uniform on. So I've taken nuggets from each of the respective leagues. Each has their pluses and minuses, but my ability to dissect that information and utilize it to my advantage, those key learnings, ultimately has made me a more well-rounded executive as a result.
Awesome. I really appreciate that because, like I said, I've spoken to plenty of people, but not everybody's been able to speak to each. And I wasn't even aware of your experience with the Islanders in the NHL. So it's unique that everyone gets to experience all four sports, and it's nice to hear from the perspective of somebody who has. So, Tyrel, I just want to thank you for this. I know you probably have a busy schedule today, and I want to thank you for your time, and I'm happy we were able to connect.
Yes, my pleasure. It's the least I can do for C-State. Again, I'm proud to serve on this advisory board. I think it's a great tool for future students, but it's also a great way for me to network and continue to build a good rapport with both graduates that have come before me, in addition to the ones that are going to come in the future. And to build that network of Red Dragons is critical.
Perfect. Thanks again, Tyrel. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.